want array. So initially we've already defined array as a data type that contains different kind of other data types, basically. So for example, we could say const array. Let's use something else. Let's say person equal to, and then we want to pass the person's name, the person's age, other details about the person, basically. So we could say something like Samson. We could Joko. You could choose to add, say, the person's friends or other things, but let's just use what we are seeing on the screen for now. But always remember that you can add in as many data types as possible to what you are seeing here. Now, if you want to access each of the item here inside of the array, we use what to call an index. So first of all, let me log this to the console, which will not be doing much for us. So it just shows us the array that we have. Now, if we want to access a particular item inside of the array, you need to note that each of these item in the array has an index, and the index starts from 0. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 items inside of this array. But when you try to access one item, the last item, using 5, you would run into an error because that item does not exist. You see, it's telling us undefined. The reason is because array starts from 0, not from 1. So for you to access the last item, you need to put in a 4 here because the items are 5, and then you have Joshua, which is the last person. Now, if you want to access the first person, then you have to put in 0, like that. All right, and that is it. Then if you love to get rid of the last person that is inside of this array, then you need to do what to call a pop. So it will be person.pop, like that. So once you do a person.pop, it will remove the last item inside of that array. All right, and then when you try to access that particular array again, you notice that the last person is gone from the array. Now you could also choose to do person.push. So person.push would add another item to the array. So we could choose to add a berry to this array and then see what it gives us. All right, so you notice that it now has everybody, including the last person we have just added, which is a berry, into the array. All right, awesome. Then if you choose to remove the first person in the array, you use what to call a dot shift, like this. So you wouldn't be passing in anything here. It will just remove the first person, which is Samson. So let's try that, and you see that it gets rid of Samson, and what's now remaining in the array is just 4 items instead of the 5 of them. There are many other operations you can perform on this array, many of them. For example, if you like to do a dot filter, if you love to do dot every, dot sum, these are different ways you can manipulate an array. I will not be jumping into that, but if you want to do all of that, we have the Mozilla documentation, docs for JS. So let me just open it up for you. This is it. It has everything you really need to know about array. But what I'm giving you here are things I think you'll be using at the very beginning of whatever you're doing. Where do you, okay, you search here. You could just search for array prototype. Here in the array, you have so many of those functions that you can use. So down here, you have the array.filter, array.join, array.pop that we've talked about. We've talked about map. We've talked about push. There's reverse. There's slice. There's sort. There's splice. There's a lot of functions that you can use to handle different cases inside of an array. So I encourage you to check out that documentation. That's the official documentation for JavaScript, by the way. So if you try to do a dot sort, and let's run this. Okay, great. So if you try to do a dot sort, it sorts everything in alphabetical order. Do you see? If you try a reverse, let's see what happens. Now this just basically sorts it technically. All right, so that is it. If you want to maybe try a dot filter, you have to give a condition. So for example, if you want to do person dot filter, you have to give a condition. So we can say each of this item is X, and we want to filter any item that the length is more than is 5. Should we use 5? Okay, let's use 5. All right, so anyone that has length more than 5, and then let's do that filter. All right, so notice that when we do a filter, it remains only those items that has more than 5 characters. For the rest, they are gone. You can do this as in different ways that you would like. All right, you could also try dot slice and all of those functions. So array is really a cool thing that helps us to manipulate data as much as possible when building project. So that is it for array.